to The Week That Was, TIOL's News Roundup. Today we bring you stories marking India's slow but daily march towards progress. These stories feature promotion of gold refineries in Uttarakhand, protection for home buyers in Maharashtra, the fate of GST, master's degrees for IAS trainees, the fraud quotient in India, and many more. But first, let's see what is the major challenge before the Ministry of External Affairs. It is an old adage that when you want a job well done, hire the professionals. This is exactly what the Ministry of External Affairs is doing. Considering the social quotient of our Prime Minister and the scale of the Mega Africa Summit that India hosted, the MEA has felt the need to hire professional consultants to set up its new permanent cell, just to organize global summits and conferences. In the coming years, India plans to host some major global meets like the BRICS Summit, the Heart of Asia Conference on Afghanistan, and the G20 Summit. The MEA's Policy Planning and Research Division has already hired 2 consultants from the world of academia and think tanks and plans to hire 2 more. Similarly, with keen focus on military diplomacy, the MEA has already deputed military officers across its various divisions. India also faces a scarcity of officer-level diplomats and staff in its overseas missions, for which it may hire locals for hospitality and management in order to boost its numerical strength. Let's now go to Maneet for promotion of gold refineries in Uttarakhand.
Gold can never go out of fashion. Considering the huge demand for the yellow metal, many bullion dealers have set up gold refineries over the last few years, with the state of Uttarakhand leading the way. More than half of India's gold refineries are located in Uttarakhand, which processes 1/3 of the gold refined in the country. The state provides several tax incentives for new investments. 8 more refineries are expected to come up near Rudrapur, which has become the gold hub. Indian refineries import door bars, which is unrefined gold. Unlike bullion or refined gold, which suffers a 10% customs duty, there is no custom duty on door. But even with the countervailing duty of 8% on door, refineries in Uttarakhand's excise-free zone enjoy a 2% advantage over refineries in domestic tariff area. But part of the duty benefit is passed on to the gold mines to ensure a higher supply of gold ore. Most international gold mines have reduced gold production, and due to lower supply, Indian gold refineries are running at an average of only 20% capacity. Following increased import duty on gold, the share of unrefined gold in total gold imports has increased over last year from 5% to 30% in 2015, with unrefined gold imports expected to touch 300 tons this year. Now for some news from Maharashtra from Asha.
While housing is a basic requirement of life, real estate is probably one of the most disorganized and cash-loving sectors of the economy. However, the state of Maharashtra has taken the lead in protecting its residents from unscrupulous builders. Even as the centre's real estate bill is pending clearance, the Maharashtra government is geared up to set up a housing regulatory authority before the year is out. The Housing Regulatory Authority would be a quasi-judicial body to guard the interests of home buyers and resolve disputes in the housing sector. The authority would have the powers to impose a fine up to Rs 1 crore and prison term up to 3 years. Developers would have to submit their project details, including property title, layout, and completion plans, to the authority for registration, which will be displayed on the website. The authority also has the power to disqualify developers or even scrap projects if their documents of land or development rights are declared by a court as invalid. If an ongoing project is stalled, buyers may form a legal entity and assume control of the construction process. Now for some financial news from Maneet on Sebis New Division.
The Securities and Exchange Board of India is all set up to set up a new division to reduce litigation, tackle pendency of appeals as well as enhance the quality of its own legal representation before the Securities Appellate Tribunal or even the Supreme Court. This new division will be a part of its enforcement department that handles all appeals against SEBI orders. Besides increasing efficiency and defending SEBI orders, this new division may well be SEBI's way of preparing for the Financial Sector Appellate Tribunal, the new avatar of Securities Appellate Tribunal. The Finance Ministry plans to transform the SAT into appellate body for all appeals against regulators of all financial products. Now for some news on IAS trainees from Asha.
While completion of IAS training itself may be a feather in their caps, the new batch of IAS trainees will now receive a master's degree on completion of the 2-year IAS training from the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in Mussoorie. Substantiating the caste system in the Indian bureaucracy, this master's degree in public management from Jawaharlal Nehru University will be awarded only for IAS trainees and not for the allied services. The Academic Council of JNU approved the 2-year course from Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy after duly auditing the course content, which shall be further audited over the course of the next 2 or 3 years. This approval is similar to the recognition granted to various courses run by other top institutions like the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Indian Military Academy, or even the National Institute of Immunology. Let's now go to Maneet for the fate of GST.
The winter session of Parliament has commenced, but discussions on the face and fate of the GST bill are still pending between the government and Congress. The Congress wants the GST rate to be kept at 18% while doing away with the 1% additional tax on interstate trade and setting up a dispute resolution authority with the centre having only 25% of the voting rights. The government is willing but has ruled out the incorporation of GST rate as part of the constitutional amendment bill, stating that it is a dynamic rate and would change from year to year or even twice within the same year. Incidentally, the rate of GST was never intended to be a part of the constitution and in its original draft avatar as approved during former Congress Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. Now for some news on faster Wi-Fi.
For most urban Indians, Wi-Fi is the breath of life. But the maximum internet speed most of us get is between 4 to 14 megabytes per second. While Google Fiber is experimenting with internet speeds up to 1000 Mbps, these technologies may actually soon become obsolete. A new technology using LED light can offer internet speeds 100 times faster. Called Li-Fi, scientists in America have achieved speeds in the laboratory of up to 224 gigabytes per second, allowing the user to download 18 movies within the blink of an eye. In trials being done in the real world, speeds of 1 GB have actually been achieved. Now, something about this technology. At present, Wi-Fi using radio waves is not an efficient system due to its limited capacity, excessive regulation, and security. Moreover, the Wi-Fi base stations transmitting the radio waves only function at about 5% efficiency, with most of the energy being used to cool down the stations. Now, Li-Fi uses light, which, like radio waves, is also part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Li-Fi works by flashing LED lights on and off at incredibly fast speeds, sending data to a receiver in binary code. Instead of transmitting information via one data stream, visible light would make it possible to transmit the same information using thousands of data streams simultaneously. To achieve this, all that is needed is to fit a small microchip to every potential illumination device, like your LED bulb, which would then combine the function of illumination with wireless data transmission. Whatever next? Speaking of frauds, now there is evidence that it is on the upswing and Indian companies need to deal with it on a priority basis. The annual Global Fraud Survey conducted by American risk consulting firm Kroll has indicated that financial frauds have increased in the last year, with 75% of the 768 companies surveyed being victims of fraud in the past year itself. The biggest threat came from within the organization, the report said. Nearly 81% of the victims had suffered at the hands of at least one insider. From India, 80% of those who responded to the survey were affected by frauds. The four major frauds identified from India were corruption and bribery, breach of a regulatory compliance, intellectual property theft, and money laundering. The report also estimated that more than $500 million or rupees 3,000 crore worth of private equity in India was quagmired in legal disputes. The armed forces in India seem to be getting a raw deal from the government. Even as retired army officers battle for one rank, one pension, the 7th Central Pay Commission has dealt another blow to the army officers in its report submitted to the government. Armed forces officers are upset that the 7th Pay Commission has relied on faulty data and not resolved the persisting core anomalies in the armed forces' salary structures. For instance, the pay panel seems to have erroneously considered that the pay of a defense service officer is higher than the Group A officers of the civil services. This may be true at the entry level and for only the handful of officers promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General. The pay panel does not seem to have taken into account the pyramid promotion structure in the armed forces. For instance, after 18 years of equal service, while an army officer may be promoted to the rank of colonel, a civil services officer becomes a joint secretary, which is equal in rank to a major general and with higher pay. But unlike armed forces officers, more than 80% of IAS officers become joint secretaries. Now to Maneet about how much do corporate chiefs earn?
Indians are a curious tribe. Most have wondered how much does the CEO of a company earn? In Govern, a Bangalore-based research organization analyzed pay ratio disclosures of Nifty companies, which revealed that the average remuneration of a director of a Nifty company was rupees 9 crore, whereas the average employee remuneration was just about rupees 6 lakh. At the top of the list were promoters of the pharmaceutical company Lupin, who earned more than rupees 30 crore annually, which was more than 1,000 times higher than the earning of an average Lupin employee. Hero MotoCorp came next with the promoter to employee pay ratio around 600 times. Interestingly, the report mentioned that in America, the CEO to average worker pay ratio was about 373 to 1. Ideally, a lower ratio would indicate a link between performance and compensation at the senior levels.
Now for the final news feature of the week. If patents signify innovation, India may be the least innovative nation among Asian countries, considering the minimal number of patent applications cleared by the government in the last decade. However, realizing that patents could well lie at the core of the Make in India theme, close to the PM's heart, the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion is determined to sweep in the winds of change. To encourage filing of patent applications and speed up the grant of patents, the department has cut the approval time for grant of patents from 5 years to 15 months. To enable speedy approvals, the department has already initiated the process for recruitment of more than 700 patent officers to examine patent applications, a process which usually takes around 18 months. In addition, it would outsource the work of conducting database searches. The department has also sought to clear pendency by changing the patent rules. Globally, about 15% of all patent applications are withdrawn, but those wanting to withdraw their applications are required to pay a fee which inhibits the withdrawal and causes the pile-up. The department will now allow applicants to freely withdraw their patent applications without paying any charges. Even the time taken for filing of reply by the applicant has been reduced from 12 months to 6 months. The department has acknowledged the abysmal figures of the patenting process. As of July 2015, there were more than 2 lakh patent applications pending with the Office of the Patents, Design and Trademarks. Patents constitute the majority of applications. Out of the rupees 2,000 crore that India earned through this office, 63% was generated from patents, 36% from trademarks, and the balance from designs. Currently, only about 40,000 patent applications are filed annually, excluding the ones that get withdrawn. Patent filing is purely territorial, and the number of applications filed with a regional office is an indicator of research and development in that state or union territory. Going by numbers, of the 4 patent offices in India, Maharashtra is the most innovative as well as efficient. It recorded the highest number of patents filed during the period 2003 to 2013 at 18,000, while Delhi was second at about 9,000, or half. With the easing of the patenting process, filing of patent applications and even the revenue earned from it will go up even as pendency is expected to reduce. On this note, we conclude this bulletin of the week that was. Thank you for watching. Please do write us your comments, counsel, criticism and even news at editor@tiol.in. You may subscribe to TIOL Tube to remain updated on our new posts. Have a cool weekend ahead.